Glad to have you back, and it's time to take a look at the stories on the front pages of our national dailies today. And with us in the studio to do justice to it is Dr. Dan Akere of the University of Lagos. He's a lecturer, of course. Good morning to you, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Good morning, Dr. Akere. Nice to see you.
Good morning. Thank you.
Right, let's start with the Punch newspaper now. CBN must contain rising risks in banking sector. The IMF is saying that, and it seeks more ambitious tax reforms, increase in excise duties, and external reserves hit $43.2 billion, says the Central Bank of Nigeria. IMF is still coming up with advice to Nigeria again.
Yeah, it's part of the intrigues of the financial world. You find all manner of indexes, all manner of positions telling you are comfortable, and yet the people are starving and all those things. The IMF is saying that we are even getting poorer, and that we need to be more careful and all of that. It is not as if Nigeria is now less endowed. It is a question of governance. How are we distributing these resources? How are we managing them? You find several multi-billionaires in the midst of so many hungry people, and this is the kind of thing you find. And then the banking sector again, have we really been doing banking? Because when I look at the elementary study of banking that I did in my commerce, I seem not to see anything close to that. Because what you find most of the time is just like a group of people just come together, gather resources, knowing that Nigerians are in dire need. The next thing is you start using all manner of strategies to collect the money from the people, and all you do is forex trading and the rest. Because this sector has not really shown what banking is about. That is why loans have become a serious challenge. In fact, as a businessman today, rather than get a solid grant through your loans and the rest of it, they end up pauperizing you, because the deductions you get at the interest rates and the way they are deducted, it's really terrifying.
Would you even say that this advice is coming at a good time, that Nigeria is even trying to bring so many people into the tax net, and the VAT window ends on March the 31st. Now, IMF is saying that it needs to even reform the taxing system. Is that going to be?
It is critical. It is critical because so far only government workers pay taxes. You have very few private people. Very few. The percentage is so little. Because
they deduct from source.
Yes,
anyway,
because the government they deduct from source. But private companies, the management will deduct, and at the end they don't even remit.
Yeah, we have cases. There are so many cases like that. Yes. All right, let's move on now. Excuse me. Buhari receives World Cup as Raw names squad for friendlies. And 2019 will assess all presidential candidates, saying Northern Elders. And the Ikeja NBA gives Lagos 7-day ultimatum to reverse land use charge. That's one ongoing issue right now. Yeah,
it's a critical issue, really. I want to believe that the governor is sensitive to the realities on ground.
Because first, he's after saying all of those, he said we are open to dialogue.
Yes,
exactly.
I do know that it will not go down without at least an increment. But the percentage increase will be the issue.
It's a question.
Yeah, because the moment you do this one way or the other, it goes back to the tenant, not the landlord.
Not the landlord.
Yeah, the landlord might be the one to pay it eventually. That it is the one who brings the money to the bank or who pays to the account. But the ultimate payer of that money is the tenant.
Is the tenant.
So you are simply just making life more difficult for the people. So I want to believe that the governor is sensitive, and
ultimately entitlement rates could increase.
All right, we have VADE's 262 Nigerians paid 20 billion naira in 8 months, says Fowler. Wow. I guess the VADE's is raking in some money. It's paying off. Exactly.
It's paying off. But again, I equally want to believe that the Inland Revenue unit of office, they actually know those who are not paying tax, particularly those who are comfortable and yet have refused to pay taxes.
About 130,000.
Yes, and I think that they need to do something more seriously to actually bring them to that net, because there are quite many.
All right. And then we have a picture of some suspected armed robbers there with so much fake dollar notes. I guess this has been going on for some time, but the police is on top of the matter like those.
All right, so we go to the Nation newspaper. The major story here: truck drivers get 48 hours to vacate Lagos bridges. They are easy targets for terrorist attacks. That's according to government, military, and other stakeholders really in charge of security within Nigeria, and of course, in the state. And they've been there really for a very long time. And even without this reason given, does it even augur well for a country or a state
in fact, that is
for
a question.
trucks to be there?
You know, when you, in fact, as a result of these trucks, going to Apapa for me is like going through hell, you know, because you find them on top of the bridge. And this, you see, I doubt if those bridges were meant to, you know, to carry trucks permanently, you know, because this one is now permanent. It's like that is a garage. So
that's
every
static
minute,
weight.
yeah, every minute of the day, the weight is on it. It's different from when this truck passed through this place, you know. So, and again, they cause very chaotic traffic situation. But again, why are the trucks, you know, on the bridge? If you don't have, you know, your depots there where they load fuel, trucks will not be there.
Absolutely.
So why not even consider the next option, which is that you need to relocate some of these, you know, tank farms to places where it will be relatively...
And that what you just said is very good, really, because it means that, apologies, Mike, it means that if you tell them to leave and then you have not given them an alternative.
I mean, it will not solve the problem because they are not even happy being there. They are not just doing it for fun. These are men who want to live through as quickly as possible.
Some sleep there for weeks.
By now, Nigerians even expect that there should be tank farms being built in Cross River, in Akwa Ibom, in River State.
Those ports need to come alive. So that
everybody mustn't come to Lagos.
They need to come to
if you're going to Maiduguri, you can go to Cross River State. If you're going to Benue, you can go to Rivers, and all of that. It will make things
really
easier.
Annoying. You call the South area oil producing, and yet they get their fuel from Lagos.
Exactly.
You know? Meanwhile, there's a port in Warri, which ought to be functional.
Exactly.
There is one at what do you call this place now? You know, that is immediately after. Before Ogara, anyway.
It's all right. But it's in Delta State.
There are so many of them.
Okay.
So you need to really bring them up. So
that Akwa Ibom is coming up with their own.
So we need to go ahead because of time. Nigeria accounts for highest malaria burden globally, says report. Should we even be talking about malaria at this point?
Why shouldn't we be talking about malaria when
because when some country,
I mean, look at the situation we find ourselves. You have a very fertile environment for malaria. You know, it's like we are producing, you know, mosquitoes the way it is today because the environment is so filthy. And the moment you have that condition, you are likely going to have, you know, more of these mosquitoes. And the moment you have more of mosquitoes, obviously malaria will be on the increase. I remember, you know, a few weeks ago, there were a lot of heaps of, you know, this waste in my own compound. There was nobody to pick them. And at the end of the day, when you call those cart operators, you know, cart pushers, you begin to hear of this. Are you getting it?
Anyway,
meanwhile, as we speak, there is, what do you call them now? This green, whatever.
Visionscape.
Beautiful. They are not everywhere. They are not everywhere. How do you expect me to dispose of waste? So you're
just talking about Lagos.
That is just Lagos first, because when you discuss Lagos, you are discussing Nigeria. It's a mini Nigeria. That is why we always use it as a reference point. Now, at the time you now go to the interiors, the other states and the local communities, obviously there's no reason why malaria should not be on the increase.
Okay, so let's just quickly take one more before we move on. Let's just brush through them because of time. Ibadan killing probe on course, say police. Oka gets life sentence for October 1 bombing. Imo Oyo Oshun top jam candidates list. Michael Moses, 26 others for Poland, Serbia ties. Senators attack El Rufai and Duje Bello. Interesting.
All right, and then let's move to the Daily Sun now. Senate indicts governors over power abuse, comes hard on Ganduje, El Rufai and Bello, and declares state's chief executive's high-handedness threat to democracy.
Indeed, it is a threat to democracy. However, you will always find such situations, particularly at a time like this. A lot of these people who are on these seats are people who have no idea of what democracy truly represents. So many of them are opportunists, and some I mean, Bello is nothing better than an opportunist because he never really planned for it. He never contested the position. So he's certainly an opportunist. So you will be surprised that he behaves the way he's doing.
And that is where, and that is why Nigerians are concerned that if you create state police, this is an example of what you're going to find. In fact, it's going to be more chaotic than this.
It might not be. It might not be. Yeah, at the beginning there will be a lot of teething problems, no doubt. But are you saying that those who run the federal level are people from the moon or somewhere else? They are just the same set of people. So the same manner, the way the national is operating is the way the states will equally operate. So I don't see any challenge with that really, because I know that with time, things will actually sort themselves out. So that does not actually, frustrate the idea or the idea of state police.
All right, let's just run through all of this. Independence Day bombing, Charles Oka Nwabueze gets life jail, Buhari receives World Cup trophy, the military gives trucks 48 hours to leave Lagos roads, and NBA demands reversal of land use charge, and Mariam Sanda murder suspect gets bail. That's the Daily Sun.
Charles Oka getting sentenced at last.
Yes, I think, the courts have done due diligence, I suppose, and the pronouncement has been made. But I want to believe that just like, one of the lawyers mentioned, they are likely going to explore other options, appeal and what have you. But I think that this is a case that needs to be followed, through the lens to the very bottom to ensure that justice is actually served. So we expect, a more thorough, situation about this case. And I want to believe the courts are up to it. Yeah,
and it begs the question, really, how investigation is done in Nigeria, that you shouldn't just focus on the crime and then, prosecuting the suspect. But what about following the trail, the money trail, or whatever trail left behind to get to the cause of the problem or the foundation of it?
It's really critical. But even in the area of prosecution, I've really been prosecuting, very well. A lot of that, in fact, is part of the problems you find with cases being thrown out, suspects, eventually gaining freedom, even when it is so glaring that they actually committed a crime. And again, it's part of the, the judicial system. But I think that the police, when they really want to do a thorough job, when they are, interested in doing a thorough job, they have the capacity. Yeah, they can actually do it. It's just that I doubt if the willingness to do it is actually there. And whether the environment actually challenges them to do it.
Okay, so we go to this day newspaper. The major story here, IMF urges confirmation of MPC members. Directors of CBN says Nigeria needs growth-friendly fiscal adjustment, calls for more ambitious tax policy measures, seeks sustained tight monetary policy, increased MPR. Of course, we know that the Senate is not even looking at the nominees for MPC membership, and that is why they've not even set interest rate for this year.
That is not the reason. We have, several interest rates. Is it because the Senate did not confirm these people? That's why we have varied interest rates.
Official.
Call it any name. You see, we shouldn't be looking for places to hang our, ineptitude and what have you.
It seems like an excuse.
Yes,
for
me, that's not the reason. But it is equally important anyway that they needed to be, confirmed.
Okay, so we go to the top of the paper. FG orders comprehensive audit of Dana Airlines, says economy has completely exited recession.
This Dana airline of a thing, for me, it looks like malware in the air, the way it is operating now. Because, I mean, a while ago we heard of a dove
falling off.
I mean, it's not better than a malware. That's what the malwares that we used to know in Lagos. That is one of their traits. So if we now get to a situation where the dove and aircraft is falling off, suppose they were in the air, and such a thing happened, what do you think will be the...
But looking at the bigger picture, should we be faulting just Dana here?
No, it shouldn't be. No, it shouldn't be. In fact, the entire sector needed to be...
checks not carried out?
You need to be, there should be a total overhaul, and there need to be very,
and sometimes
critical
we
scrutiny
also
of the system.
lay blame.
But at the same time, too, we should equally do everything to ensure that the sector functions effectively, because they needed to be supported. And that support should come at when due, not the ones that you strain them to the point that they can't, access funds and what do you call it?
All right.
We have foreign exchange and the rest of it.
Yeah.
So the government needs to sit up.
Okay, let's just brush through the remaining stories. Northern leaders inaugurate committees for presidential election restructuring. Dogara queries unilateral removal of sections of NFIU bill by House committee. Senate passes bill. After 7-year trial, court sentences Charles Oka to life imprisonment. Land use charge. Lagos Assembly admits inserting alpha beta in error. And there's a picture here, standalone picture on the front page, are two of the members of the bobsled team that put Nigeria on the map of bobsled countries, really, at the Winter Olympics in South Korea, flanked by President Muhammadu Buhari and the Vice President, Professor Shibaji.
Well, that's good. I hope it goes beyond the handshake.
It's not about the presidential handshake, but it was record breaking, sorry, history making rather, history making for them to muscle the effort to be there. Let's finally get to the Vanguard newspaper. Electricity firms drag federal government to court over $1 trillion naira debt, accuse federal government of unfair practices, refusal to pay for power generated, allege favoritism towards two companies in gas supply.
Yeah, I think the same thing should apply to even the power generation distribution companies. The same way they could drag the federal government to court over, we should be able to drag them to court over, these terrible billings that are unrealistic that they do to their customers as well. If such things could get them to the point of dragging the federal government to court. Have they ever considered their own, their own actions? Because they bill you for darkness. And again, when they manage to flash the light in your neighborhood,
they ring bills the next day.
Very, very, very untenable bills. But I think we really need to be more serious about that sector. The interest should not always be about increment of tariff and the rest of it. It shouldn't equally be about we have generated so much. We should see what is generated at work. We are not, really experiencing it.
Seems to boil down to the will, really.
But the will and the way and manner they are carried out, because it looks like this goes beyond the will. It seems there's a question of, competence. It seems there's a question of, experience and what have you there, because these are supposed to be businessmen, or the business enterprises. Apart from the question of making profit, you need to put the means of making that profit in place. You find out that customers are the ones who buy transformers in some instances.
Meters.
Are you getting it? You buy it. In fact, you practically
poles
operate,
and cables.
Whatever they needed to do for that. And they collect bills from you without paying you back. It's terrible, really.
All right, let's move on now. Papa Oshu, the expressway. Navy gives truck drivers 48 hours to vacate road, and traffic chaos stalls self-help repair works. And then we have a PDP to Buhari, learn from Ghanaian president. Remember the Nigerian president at the 61st independence anniversary, Nigeria says we're going to help Ghana fight corruption. And on the index, Ghana is number 81, Nigeria is number 148.
Yeah, you can see where the blind man wants to help the man with one eye. I think that's the situation, really.
All right, let's move on now. Imo top states with 92,000 candidates as 2018 UTME begins. Well, in topping states, the number of people going to school, writing exam, does that really translate into knowledge?
This number we're talking about, those who applied, isn't it? We have not talked about those who passed.
Those who passed, exactly.
It's a different thing altogether. You could have, maybe 1 million people register for exam, and less than 200,000.
But does this
it shows that there is a drive towards, going to school and all of it. And today, one trend I've equally discovered, because I think today is International
Women's Day.
Yes, and I noticed that, there's so much clamor about the woman. And from my observation, there seem to be more women in school today. There seem to be. Okay, for me, the one I am in charge of, for instance, in my level, the ratio is about 60 to 40. There are more women. And yet you find this clamor. It's not about let young people go to school. It's about women empowerment. Politics, they want you to leave the space for them. They don't
want you to leave the space for them. They want you to shift, to allow them. How many Nigerian politicians do we have?
Part of the problem we have today is that of
how many are in the Senate and House of Representatives?
Shifting and the rest. There are competent women who do not need to ask for shift.
Take it.
All they need to do is,
but they need support. When it comes to politics, they need to be supported. Do men support women?
They have always been supported.
That's the question. Do Nigerian men support Nigerian?
We are going to talk about that.
Akunyili was not a man.
We'll be talking about that much later on.
Patricia Ete, was she supported?
The Peace Corps bill, the Senate moves to override Buhari's veto. Delta under headsman siege. That's Governor Okowa saying that. And we have the picture of suspected armed robbers who've been paraded by the police in Niger State, and so many young people, youths, and we have lots of fake dollar notes in there also displayed.
Well, no, but again, before we just round off, this Peace Corps bill of a thing, looking at the bill, what challenges does it pose to the country? What threat does it pose?
The president has said that there are two major things: the issue of finances, the financial burden, and the duplication of the responsibility.
No, you call it duplication. Do we have enough of it? The one that you are saying is being duplicated. So, if that is the case, then bring them into your various forces, because we are under-policed, we are not secured, and that is part of the problem.
All
we
right.
don't have enough manpower.
I'm afraid we have to leave you here right now because of time. Thank you very much.